Well, welcome to BTS Keeping It 100 with Ladie Vee. My goodness, I have not seen any of you this year, but it is so good to be back. How's everybody doing? Welcome to all of our viewers. This is going to be an exciting year. We have some really hot topics that we're going to be talking about. So I hope everybody is ready because we're going to do it this year. We Before I get started, before I introduce my co-host for this evening, I just want to say that Happy New Year, because I haven't said Happy New Year. Hope everybody's New Year has gotten off to a great start. But we are going to talk about tonight attraction versus respect. I've been doing a lot of listening to different topics and things that our young people are going through. And I know that some of us work with youth, some of us are counselors, some of us are pastors. And I think that somewhere down the line, even from the music, the TV shows, social media, everything that we see, there seems to be a little bit of a question. Is there more the attraction versus the respect? Like when I was growing up, and I know this for you are my age, you couldn't call a female out her name. You couldn't say certain things. When we went out, there was a standard. But now, it seems like everybody is just like, uh I hate to say it, but we on the WAP. Yeah, everybody on this, WAP and this and that. And I'm like, well, how do we get there? How did we get from, if a guy was attracted to a girl, it was like, oh, okay, she's pretty, she's nice looking, to now all of the other things that we're saying. And so we want to talk about it tonight. But before we get started, I want to introduce everybody that's on my panel tonight. So I want to start off with hey, Reverend Jay, how you doing? You are sideways. So what's going on? You hear me? Are you there? Okay. Well, we'll come back to you. Well, let's start with you then. What's going on with you this year? How's it going?
Oh man. Well, for one, like I said, just growing closer to God, spiritually. Recently, at the end of last year, I had figured out what my calling was, and one of the gifts that God given me is the gift of encouragement and enlightenment. So, I decided to put it to use, and decided to turn it into being a life coach. So, I got my certification through that. And also looking to finish in my psych degree as well, and started my own business now as a life coach. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in a great space, so I'm enjoying.
All right, I'm proud of you. I'm real proud of you. I'm glad to hear that. Benny, how you doing there, Doc?
Hello.
Hi, I'm doing well.
Everything going good this year so far?
This year for me is starting slow boogie, and I like it like that. Uneventful,
right.
uneventful. Yes,
There
but
you
it's
go.
starting well. Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, welcome to the show. And we have Joy. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
Good. Anything exciting so far this year?
Exciting? Not necessarily exciting, but just doing me as I normally do.
Well, that's awesome. Beautiful as usual. And we have Reverend Jay. You came back and you are right side up. How you doing?
Oh, I didn't hear my.
You were
Hey,
sideways
what's going on?
for a minute. How's it going?
Oh, busy, but I'm glad to be here.
Good. And I want to introduce. So I met this young fella. I'm gonna call him young. This is gonna be my first time kind of meeting him face to face. But we belong on this podcast. It's called Black Podcast. Is that the name of it? And so I kind of put it out there. Needed a couple of guys to come on the show, and he volunteered. And so I welcome Howard to the show. How you doing tonight? Tell us a little bit about
Good.
Well, I am a motivational speaker, international mentor, and entrepreneur. So one of the big things that we have is we own a media company, and we do podcasting, video podcasts, as well as audio podcasts from that platform. So I was more than welcome to join.
Well, thank you. We welcome you. And last but not least, I have this beautiful lady, Dr. Yvonne Bennett, who is also my wonderful mom. And how are you? How are you doing, Mom?
I'm doing well, 2023 is gotta be for me.
All right, I know that's right.
A lot to do. A lot of people need counseling and therapy, and I'm working it. Me and God, we got this.
All right. Well, we're going to go right into our show. I want to welcome all of our viewers on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We are in the Caribbean. We are actually, I believe, on TV in the Caribbean. So we want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. But we're going to talk about attraction versus respect. So how do you know when somebody is attracted to you? You know, what are the signs? Why do you know? Anybody? We just gonna open talk tonight. Anybody?
Well, I think for women, I think they would talk to you, I guess you can say. That's a good sign. If a woman's not attracted to you, they won't talk to you.
She started talking to you, and you automatically knew that she was attracted to you.
That's one of my cues. If a woman starts talking, hey, it's time to keep on going.
Okay. All right. So, but other than talking to you, because you have women that are just talkative, were there any other signs that gave you an indication, like body movement, thing like that?
Oh yeah. Well, they move closer to you. They start trying to have their body touch yours, things of that nature.
Okay. Anybody else? Joy, how does that work?
For me, it depends on the man, because some men are very, very some men who I knew were attracted to me, they wouldn't talk to me. They would be more timid, but they give me the glance, the smiles. A lot of their statements are like one word, like one like small little phrases like, "Oh, you look beautiful today," and then they'll just like scatter off or something. But there are some men who are, I guess, the men who are very, very confident in themselves. With them, they may have a whole vibe with them. So with them, it's more so their presence, and they will let you know that they're interested, or you're beautiful, and they give you the little head nods and the when licking the lips. It's a whole spiel with them. It's a whole movement of dramatics.
The LL Cool J.
Yeah, they gotta let you know that they're interested. They don't want you to have any problems understanding what they're trying to tell you. So
okay.
I think when it comes to women, a lot of it is that they're smiling at you and making eye contact. That's a very, very intimate thing, and a lot of times women will do that.
That's true. Women also tend to squirm a little bit, because they're a little nervous. They get silly, So, Josh, did you experience that? Did you experience the silliness? Did she laugh?
Oh yes, definitely.
What about you, Dr. Bennett? How do you know if somebody's attracted to you? How did you know? It doesn't have to be your husband. I mean, it can be just anybody, because we talk about attraction versus respect.
Well, eye contact is, I think the most important thing that has ever happened to me. Eye contact, and kind of making sure that they're in your space without taking over. Looking for something to say, can I help you? or something like this, especially in supermarkets, and I know I'm old, but it happens now too. Guys in the supermarket. Oh, can I help you with that? Or do you have a bag? Things like that. And, you can detect a person trying to help you versus a person trying to let you see that they want your number or your name or something. But that eye contact and getting in your space kind of thing.
Now I'm even though this sounds crazy, NASA said I grabbed their butt. Now that's keeping it real, because that's where this is why I came up with this topic, because on the norm, there's the guy meets girl, how you doing conversation, but then there's those other conversations. There's those other things that now guys do, girls do. That is it attraction or is it disrespect? Because I think that with our young people, the like I said, the things that I read on social media, the stuff that I'm seeing now, it goes beyond attraction. Attraction is what we just described. I want it to be where if a person, if they see you in the store and they may not know you're married, they may ask you, well, you got a man. But once I say I do, then that's it. That there's no need to go further, because I already said I have a man, and vice versa. So the problem is, go back to the grab the butt and all of that. That you can't even go places, and now you got this whole touching thing. Guys want to touch you. They feel like because you're in the building, they can put their hands on you. Okay, Damon, you shaking your head because you know what I'm talking about. So when we get there, what's going on with that?
Well,
and
it's
become a social norm. I mean, to be honest, and then again, who look who their influences are. You know what I mean? Like you have, artists. Music is one of the most powerful influences, right? So when you hear artists, your favorite artist is telling you, how you should act when you're around women and stuff like that. I mean, all they do is emulate what they see, right? And social media has become such a powerful thing too, that allow for you to have these shallow conversations where you don't have to have in-depth conversations, because you can literally get it to a whole body with a touch of a button on your phone, and it's just become a social norm with all this stuff, whereas the old school, the in-depth conversations become a lost art. And yeah, it's really bad.
The big thing. Go back to the movie Obsessed with the lady in the elevator.
Yeah.
And now that's what I call disrespect.
Yeah.
She was trying to really come on to him, but it was disrespectful the way she did it.
Right. And the role is flipped, because him being a guy,
yes,
other guys, but see, that's our fault, because we, instead of us saying, hey, like, bro, that's not okay, we come in and be like, oh man, she won't. We build that up and keep that going. Whereas with on the opposite side, the flip side, if it was a woman, they'd be, y'all would be more so like caring, like, hey man, like men should be doing things like this, right? And be trying to look out for them. But part of that is on us. Like we encourage that. Like we be like, oh, well, she wants you. You know what I mean? So of course we're not gonna see it as disrespect, but it really is. Like it's really the same thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I look at, and we can't ignore it, is when you start looking at generations, that's where you'll see a big difference. And what I'm talking about is, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but what I look at is a real man, a real woman, they're going to keep it real, but they're going to be respectful. They're going to know how to do that. Now, when I see some of the younger people being respectful and having that conversation, I know that someone has taught them how they should behave. And yes, there are tons of videos and music videos, all types of things that people see, movies, but you have to make sure that you are doing your part as the mentor, the father, the mother, whoever, to make sure they understand how they should behave.
So what are the boundaries then? So, you know, when you talk about attraction, what are some of the things that turns men off that women do? You know, what are some of the turnoffs?
That's a good thing. And what the young man said earlier about the fact that we do this, we do that, and men don't usually say it. I'm going to put it out there and say real men will let you know. All right. A real man is going to let you know. And I'm not trying to say that people are young boys and so forth, but what happens is experience, age, all of that comes into play. And you just have to say how you're feeling. If you feel offended, say you're offended. It doesn't take away from your manhood. A lot of men are worried about the fact that because they don't act a certain way, I'm not a real man. I talk about this all the time.
Our perception.
And the whole thing is right. And you have to be confident with yourself. Someone else talked about confidence. You have to be confident with who you are. If you don't like it, you don't like it, no matter what it is.
So, okay. So a woman comes on to you, Josh, what do you do?
Who, me?
There you. Rev that.
Well, how would
These days I run.
Okay.
That-
So
That's what I was going to ask. How? Coming on to you.
how does
she
she
Is it
know you're
respectfully or
married.
disrespectfully?
She doesn't.
Well,
she doesn't
I
know
would,
you're
I definitely wouldn't lead no one on. I'll tell them I'm married and I'm good, you know, and I'll leave like that. Again, I'm an entrepreneur, so I deal with a lot of women because, you know, everybody's in business. But again, I'll explain, no, I'm married and I'm good, you know. I think it's the best way to shut it down.
Okay, but now she doesn't want to shut it down. So now what do you do?
Well, I don't know about anyone else. If I say it's gonna be shut down, it's gonna be shut down. I don't think
Do
you know,
tell your wife?
say again?
Do you tell your wife?
I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell my wife because it's gonna be shut down. You know, I'm not gonna. If I'm not gonna entertain anything, I'm not gonna entertain it. Entertain it's not going no further. You know, I'm not gonna give
But
my
if
number
she-
out.
but if she
Stuff like that.
keeps, okay, if she keeps coming on to you, do you at one point do you tell your wife?
Oh, if she keep coming on, I'll tell my wife, and then I'm calling the police. 'Cause just based on movies, a person like that is dangerous.
seen this movie before? No.
No, I'm telling you, yo, these people these days are like, you know, even when the guy said, "Oh, I grabbed the butt," and these days, with the Me Too moment, are you crazy? You know, you will go to jail quick second a minute these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask that is because a lot of times, now I'm gonna talk to the man for a minute. Men find it hard, or should I ask, do you find that men find it harder to resist the attraction where it does go off into the disrespect? Because they don't want to appear to be uncool, or they don't want to appear to be rude. Like, how do you tell if you out with your friends and somebody comes on to you, but you're not interested because you're in a relationship? How does that work? Because men tend to struggle with that.
I will. Artists, they should be they should, if they got a question that and how they look and them being cool around the people they have, they shouldn't be around them anyway.
Exactly. And it goes back to the whole real man thing.
Yeah.
And the part about being rude that you said, if I've told you I'm married and that I'm not interested, and you continue to press, then in a minute I'm going to get rude. Okay? Because I've told you nicely I'm not interested, and I don't care who knows. Now, when you asked the question earlier, one of the first conversations my wife and I had was about the fact, because of what we did, all right, that we had people that we knew, we had people that talked to us all the time, and the whole jealousy thing. You know, we talked about the fact, oh, you're a jealous type and things of that nature. I think that comes into play when you say, oh, you're going to tell your spouse. And we've had it set up to where we will handle it ourselves until we can't. And if they're present, then I will let her know and let her handle it instead of me getting kind of crazy with it. But other than that, I can tell her and she tells me. And there's times when we're together and it happens. So, you know, the whole thing is we let each other take care of it until we can't. There's a look she'll give me, and that's time for me to come over instead of her getting rude and say, excuse me, this is my wife. I believe she no longer wants to talk to you. You need to step off. And she's done the same thing, you know? So it gets to a point when you talk about the disrespect. If you're going to continue to disrespect me once I've told you that I'm married, well, it's time for me to be disrespectful and tell you need to go on. However, I need to let you know.
So NASA said there's a big difference between flirting and disrespect. What do you think about that, Benny?
So now, V, you know you don't have me on here tonight for my opinion. You have me on here to take notes so that I will know the next time we are out together just what I'm doing. You know that's what I'm doing. But to go back to what you just asked me, can you repeat that? Because I was taking notes about the flirting and the disrespect.
So is there a big difference between the flirting and disrespect? You know, how do
okay, so
what is the
let me say, God, I hate to be in this spot. Let me just say, I've listened to everything that has been said, and I feel bad, kinda, because everyone I talk to, if I have an opportunity, I'm gonna look them in the eye. And I think that may have been some problems in the past because I'm making eye contact. And I was never flirting, nor was I being disrespectful. So I think it's going to be in the interpretation and the situation that the other person may be in. Because I myself would never flirt to the disrespectful side if I know that I'm being disrespectful. So I think it's going to be in the interpretation of the person. If I'm talking to someone and they give me the signal to be quiet, then I'm no longer talking, whether I was flirting or not. So I think that's in interpretation and situation by situation.
Okay, so now, ladies, so how do we know that we're not flirting? You know, we have all been approached in some sort of way. So how do we know? Because I've seen females, I've seen them out, and you know, a guy will come over, and it doesn't always work. Where they'll say, "Oh, I have someone." You know, it comes across a little flirtatious. So where's the boundaries with that? Because sometimes you can just be friendly and say hello, and somebody can take it as you're flirting.
Misinterpret that. Yeah.
Hey, let me say real quick, when you were talking about that you may have been misunderstood before, just looking someone in the eyes, it's a number of things. There's many different things that occur before you can say, you know, you're flirting. Just because you look them in the eye doesn't necessarily mean you are flirting. It could be, you know, you're looking them in the eye, you're getting closer. There's a number of things that will say flirting versus just looking someone in the eye. You know, they talk about communication. You look someone in the eye, that lets them know that you're serious about communicating. That doesn't mean that you're flirting. There's other things, you know, the way you're standing, the way you're getting closer, like the other young man said. If you are twirling your hair, things of that nature. You know, you'll find that there's a number of different things. And I'll put it out there. Women just inherently at birth tend to have the ability to just come across in a certain way. And it may not even be that they intended, but it is sometimes how it's perceived. Okay.
Okay.
So I didn't mean to get away from your question.
No, that's okay. Because okay. So Joy, what do you think about what he just said? Because
I totally agree. I totally agree. I'm a very friendly person. I'm a very touchy-feely kind of person. So and especially, you know, with, you know, my dad and my brother being pastors, I meet a lot of men, and now I don't know if they felt that, oh yeah, Joy flirts with me, but I know I've been approached, and I'm just like, well, I don't know why you approach me, because that's not what I feel. But I know, because I am so open. Like, I'm not a very closed off, like, oh no, and stern type of woman. I'm very open. I'm very friendly. I try to be bubbly. And I think sometimes men look at that as like, oh, well, maybe she's interested. She's open, you know, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, once they cross that threshold and ask the questions, then I have to say, no, that's not what, no, that's not what it is. But I do understand that a lot of women, and I know a lot of women who, I've seen them interact with men. I'm like, you were flirting with me? Like, I wasn't flirting. And I'm like, but I know that's part of their personality. So I know that with women, sometimes it can be, you know, it can be perceived as they flirting, but they're not. And with the disrespectful, I just think that with men, I think you have to know the type of woman that you're approaching. I hate men. If a man comes to me and approach me and have anything to say about my body, automatically I'm like, that's a turn off. I don't want to hear, oh, well, you got a nice butt, you want this, and that. If you touch me, we really have an issue. But you just can't touch me. You can't come into my space without me, you know, welcoming you into my space.
Right.
So I think that would be a clear sign of disrespect, because you didn't ask if you could come into my space. You're not even concerned about if I have boundaries and what boundaries you can cross or not. So that I just look at you don't respect me. And with men who look at me and just think of all the physical things, I look at it as, well, all you see is the outside. You don't know anything about me. You're not even concerned with anything about me. I want you first to know me, then tell me like, oh, I'm attracted to you, this and that. But if you just come off the rip and just like, oh, you so beautiful, you so fine, look at your body, automatically the access denied. I don't care what you are, what you look like.
Vee, can I say something right there? You know, the sad thing, and this is just reality, the sad thing is that's total disrespect. But you know, for someone else that would be acceptance. And that's where we have these problems, because for some other person, not myself, but I'm just saying, for some other person, that will be accepted as flirting. And that's where the lines get blurred. And that's why we're having these types of discussions.
Absolutely.
Jahan, what do you think about that? You shaking your head.
I agree with what Joy said. I'm a bubbly, social type of person. So sometimes that can look across that I'm flirting with somebody or not. But for me, it's about body language. I can tell right off the bat if a man is approaching me by his body language, oh yeah, he think he gonna get my number. Nah, you ain't my type. You know, you as women, we already know what's our type and what's not our type. So if you come in and you're like, yeah, I'm about to get her, like, no, bro, you don't know, but you ain't finna get this. So for me, it's body language, because I can already tell, you know, okay, he think he about to flirt on me, especially if you got a ring on your finger. I'm already like, nah, this ain't what you want, because I ain't on that kind of time. But so yeah, I'm a social type of person. So sometimes people can, you know, they can take that as, oh, she flirting with everybody she see. No, that's just who I am. And I'm a hugger. But I understand there's boundaries with hugging somebody, especially if somebody's married. It's like, okay, we're going to get the church hug right here because, you know, you married. So I ain't trying to have your wife peek me from across the room like, oh, he over here trying to flirt with her and give her a hug. Like, no, I don't want your husband. So, yeah, so I agree with everything Joy said.
But now, okay, so let's go back to, because we're gonna end attraction and go to the respect, because a lot of times now, okay, we got a couple married men. So when you out and you see somebody that's attractive, because we're gonna be real, we are not blind. We see attractive people all the time. Whether you're with your spouse or whether you're not, especially when you're with your spouse and you see that bad girl, you see her, how do you handle that? What do you do?
But I'll answer for this, guys. You look, but you don't touch. And touch means you don't approach in a flirty way. You keep it straightforward, business-like. You know, my wife knows, and I know. We have eyes. We're human. The first thing that people notice is the physical. All right, that's just bottom line. Whenever you walk anywhere, the first thing that God put with us is our eyes, and we see. So of course, you see something that you like, you're gonna look. The difference, and we talked about respect and disrespect. There's a difference to look and then look away, versus look
and keep looking
and
looking up and down and everything else. No, you can look over, you can glance and everything else. And when you've been on this earth as long as I have, you know how to look and take it all in real quick. All right. But what I'm saying is you are gonna look. The whole thing is you have to make sure that if you are talking to an individual, they're talking to you, that you keep it where it needs to be. That's all there is to it.
That's right.
All right, Reverend Jay.
Well, I agree. Like, again, you know, you'll look, but at the same time, though, you know, you know where the boundaries need to start and end at. You know, I myself, you know, I will look, but again, I wouldn't take it no further. You know, I wouldn't even work at trying to take it no further. So, but again, I'm a very friendly person. When I go bowling, I told everybody there. You know, so, you know, no big deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But let's say this, like I guess I'm at the stage now. You know, I've been around for a while. I understand that looks are good, but when you really get with a person, you get their character. You will never know that until you really get with them. So, but at the same time, I'm happy with what I have now, so I'm good. Let me put that on public.
I'm gonna read what my spouse said. He said, "You look and look away. If you get into a conversation, add your spouse, keep it classy, and move on." Nice answer. And that's something. And you know, and he's not on the show, but Derek is very good. He does do that. You know, we go places. He's very social, but he's very quick to bring me into the conversation if it's with a female, just so it keeps it clean. You know, because the other person may take it as you're flirting, but you know the intentions of your heart, so you bring the other person in on the conversation, and that person doesn't get out of what you're intending the conversation to be. Ladies, same question then. How do you handle that? I want to hear what my mom got to say.
Well,
so you know, so somebody come up to you and you know he's this nice looking guy, and you know because we're not blind either. We see good looking just like guys, but you know I know that people you know think that women are blind once they get married, they don't see, but you know even when they're single, but we see what we see. But how do you handle it? Do you glance? Do you stare? Do you move your shoulder? How do you handle that?
well, you see it. You're not blind, and you're human, and you see it, and you see it, and you keep moving. That's the best answer I can give you. You see it, and you keep moving because you're not blind. I mean, there are, but you have to handle it in such a respectful way, because I've been around. I'm like the brother here. I've been around for a minute, and I'll tell you that I've seen a lot of things, and I'm very watchful of how a lot of women carry themselves. I was listening to Joy, you know, and my sister here saying, you know, you're touchy-feely. But see, they're touchy-feely, decent women. But there are women, when you're introduced to a gentleman, you can hold his hand, but you got to let it go.
Right.
You know, you don't stand there and hold his hand. But what I'm seeing today, women, you know, they hold the hand And I mean, they've got Roman fingers and
They
Russian
go more
fingers.
on hands.
I
They
mean,
go more on hands.
A lot of stuff
They
going
touch
on.
No
never-
boundaries.
I'm talking about in
No
the
boundaries.
church, you know, in the church.
Oh.
You have
Oh,
to be
extremely no boundaries.
yeah, you know, you have to,
Boundaries.
let's keep it real. You know, you have, and my husband is one for, you know, when he's introduced to a woman, he knows how to give a nod. You don't get his hand, you don't get his Bible, you don't get his nothing. You just get a nod. Nice to meet you. Because you can't, you just have to be very careful, because there are some women that are disrespectful when it comes to, because you know, touchy feet. Oh, how are you? You know, you don't have to go that. You don't have to go that far.
And you know what's funny, real quick, is because of the things that my wife and I do, there's where we have talked about the fact that you get a 1,000, 2 1,000. That's it, and then it's the matrix up in that mug. Okay, I'm just saying, you know, because there are individuals that we know that and so forth, and they hug, they know us for a while, or things of that nature. It's 2,000. Because the other thing that I look at, and it's sad, is 1 minute you hug someone saying hello, less than 2 seconds. Next thing you know, you're on social media talking about, look at them all hugged up and whatnot.
Yes.
So, you know, that's why, like I said, I make sure it's 1,000, 2 1,000. You can see my hands. And again, if it has to be, it's the matrix, because it's just not worth it.
No,
you know, it's just not worth it.
And you do have to be careful, because you don't know the intent of people that you meet. And you can be accused of something that you are absolutely innocent of. So you have to be careful.
Yep.
So respect. So now once you get this attraction thing together, now where is the respect versus the disrespect? You know, what are the boundaries with that? Because I see a lot of just it's all about what you can get. It's all about, and I think that Damon said it, it's what we, especially when it comes to guys, because we're not teaching our young men how to treat our young women, what a guy should be allowed to say, what a guy should be allowed to do, and vice versa. We as young women, what we should be doing. I can remember my youngest son, this was a few years back, and he was liking this girl, and we were at this basketball game, and I happened to turn around because I didn't see him, and he was up on the bleachers. Now he was 15 at the time, and the girl was sitting in between his legs, and I did a whole wait a minute. You know, so of course I went up and everybody's like, oh my goodness. And I introduced myself, and the thing that really got me was she never moved. She kept rubbing his leg. And I'm like, so now he's nervous because he knows his mom. And I found me and I said, well, I'm Miss Yvonne, and she introduced herself, and I said, well, okay, I'm gonna break it down to you. Two kinds of girls. There's those nice girls who, you know, meet a guy and tend to, you know, hold their hand a little bit, and you know, they use their nice words and they sit next to the nice guy. And then there's those hoes. I said, so what category are you leaning towards? Because you literally sitting like right here where you shouldn't be, and you're not even bothered that I'm his mom, and you're not even moving. So it's like because I know that we say it, oh, you know, go ahead, you know, you go ahead, you're gonna get that. You see it on TV, oh, you know, you're gonna get. Where do we get to the place where we teach the boundaries, even in the meeting and greeting and the respect and the words that we say? Although that may be the intentions, we don't want it to be where it's so over the top. So how do we get there?
Self.
Okay.
Just you learn a lot about how a person treat themselves. You know, you learn about how they treat themselves. If they, you know, aren't treating themselves with setting boundaries and being firm on where they are in their lives and things like that. What makes you think that they would set those precedents for you? They can't even themselves, right? So you start with just self-respect and it's integrity. It's one word that's been bouncing around in my head all week about walking with integrity. So it's like it starts there. You know, what is being taught at home? Like, are they taught self-respect? What is the example? Are they seeing the example of how to walk with respect within themselves? And then you go from there. But that's the bottom line. It starts with self first. And
good. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you can.
And you know, the big thing, not saying that you've done anything wrong, it has to also be because my son was a basketball player and he's 19 now, but when he was 13, 14, he played basketball. And so of course, all the girls would be trying to talk to him. But from early on, I made sure that he understood what was what. And he saw how me and his mom reacted towards each other. Even though we were married, it was still respectful, you know? So he would know that no girl is going to be sitting between his legs. He's not going to have some girl between his legs. So, and you know, I had those that came up and they would be trying to do this or do that with him at the games in the bleachers. And I'll see him actually put their hand, you know, or move them if they come over, like he's sitting on the bleacher. One girl tried to sit on his lap. He helped her up very nicely and sat her next to him. You know, that comes in with teaching, like you said, at home. And the majority of the things that we see out now is because there is a lack of teaching at home, as well as a lack of some of this teaching at school. But primarily it needs to be done at home.
Yeah.
But you go back to what the people that should be teaching that were actually taught.
Right.
And if you look at it, you'll see, oh, wait a minute. Daddy was just like that. Well, my grandpa is just like that. So it's got to be where we talk about breaking the cycle. And, you know, that's where it occurs. Just like you said, it's got to be done at home.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that it has to be done at home and you need to start early on. You know, don't wait till your daughter's out there, you know, dropping like it's hot, then try to reel her in. But I remember I was probably about 7 or 8. And I remember one day, right, Monty and I was on the phone. And Monty's like, call me right back in like a minute or so. So, of course, in a minute or so, I called him back. And Doc picked up the phone. And Doc was like, Joy, you're a young lady. As a young lady, you do not call no boy. You wait for that boy to call you. Don't ever let no boy tell you when to do something, how to do something, and you just get up and jump. You respect yourself as a young lady. And that stuck to me till today. There's no man out there who ever say, oh, yeah, Joy chased me. I don't chase no man. And that's partially due to Dr. Bennett's teaching because she was a woman that I respected. My mom taught me a lot of those good virtues and values as well. And so this is what helped to create the woman that I am. Now, if that stuff wasn't in place, I would probably be the type of woman that, you know, calling men all times of days and nights and have no respect of his boundaries and have no respect of, you know, what it looks like outside in public. Because a lot of women, they don't care how they carry themselves with men. You know, they'll be all on them and kissing on them and touching on them, not understanding that it just looks sloppy. And that not a man that holds himself to a higher regard and is held to, and in his community is held to a higher regard. They don't have those type of women hanging all on them, especially not in public. Now, I don't know if they do in private, but out in public, you're not going to see them with the type of woman. So if you want to be with a certain man of a certain caliber, you have to also be that kind of woman. Yeah.
I agree. And the thing about it is, you know, I want to add to that. I think that the thing is when you talk about the respect, the respect starts with you. It's a standard. You know, a lot of times you see a lot of people, they don't have standards. So it's like anything goes, you know, they don't, when we were coming up, you know, guys held the door open for you. They opened the door, you know, it was certain things that you just expected them to do. But now it's like, you don't even get that, you know, you don't even see guys anymore opening the door for a young lady. And then we're going to talk about the words that we address each other as, because that's the other thing. Words are powerful. When do we become anything other than young ladies and young men, queens and kings? When do we become bees and hoes and pimps? And that famous word is the N word that I can't stand, because it's like, it's so disrespectful and it's so degrading to who you are. If you're comfortable in calling your not even just your spouse, you're so comfortable in calling a female out of her name, that's not cool, you know, because that's already defining who they are. And we do it so frequently. We hear it on in the songs, we hear it, we see it on social media, this, that. When do we get to that place? You know, it's like there's no boundaries in how we see each other. But yet women say they want a man, men say they want a woman, but we got to see each other as valued. And the value to me is not there like it used to be. Like, I know my dad, when I was coming up, he said, you know, you'll never let a guy call you out your name. You don't let a guy take you out and not open the door for you. And, you know, we call it chivalry. But what happened to that?
You know, I'm going to be doing, and none of y'all better do it before I do. I'm getting ready to do a podcast with 3 different generations, where we're going to be talking about the things you're talking about there, because it came up on a social media post where we saw how much traction it got. They were talking about this guy was just letting this woman walk on the street, and he was walking next to her, but she was near the actual street, where someone said, well, you should have been near the street. You know, now looking at the age, I think he was 20, she was 19, and he saw nothing wrong with that. And, you know, it was the fact that you should be protecting her. You know, if a car jumps the curb, you should be making sure that she's safe. And his first thing was, well, I don't want to get hit. What about me? And so the big thing that I looked at was the number of posts that were following that. And someone reached out and they said, can you do this? Can you do a podcast on that topic? And I was like, yeah, most definitely, because we have to look at the fact of where this occurred. And, you know, the big thing that we see a lot of now is you've got a mother who is 40, a daughter who's 29, you've got a granddaughter that is now like 15. It seems like when you start looking at those ages and things of that nature, that's where stuff started breaking down, because the wisdom that comes with living and how you should be treated, what you've learned with the failures and things of that nature hasn't occurred. And so it's not taught, you know? And I think when you say, where did it start to go wrong? I think that's where, because you got it to where they looked at the chivalry, it doesn't matter, you know? As well as no man in the household, because now it's I, as the female, as the woman, have to take care of this. No man's going to tell me this, that, or the other. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it the way we want. You know, so there's a number of things, a number of factors that have caused issues.
Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree. And I think that even with the walking on the inside and the outside, I don't know if younger people, well, I'm young, but if people who wasn't informed that when pimps used to walk their women out, they would let them walk on the outside, so that they can be paraded, so that, you know, the next John could come up. See, a lot of people don't know that. But
no,
you know,
the young ones don't know that.
Exactly.
So you just told your age. You just told your age. You just told your age. Don't be knowing some history now.
And I also believe that what ended up happening is, unfortunately, with the decline of men inside of a home, women took on this, almost what they call their masculine energy. And they rest in that masculine energy. And what ended up happening is they forgot that they still had to teach. See, the beauty of having a man in the house is because you didn't have all those stresses. you know, you had a man who was going to take care and was going to provide for you, was going to protect you. So you could do your nurturing thing, which is teach your children how to present themselves out there in the street. But when you had, you know, women, you know, just having men give them children and run off, and then they, you know, they don't respect themselves. You hear a lot of times the mother used to, you know, talk bad about the father, you know, and once you talk bad about a child's father, so now they take that on, even though you're not thinking they're going to take that on, but that's a part of who they are.
Yeah.
And so these women don't have respect for themselves. These men don't have respect for themselves. They don't know what it is to be a man, what it is to be a woman, because they didn't have an example. You didn't sit down and teach them. So now we just have everybody just running amok, and this is what we end up with.
And unfortunately, the examples that they do see is what leads to a lot of the disrespect you're talking about with flirting and so forth. You know, the one post that came up said slap him on the butt. Had to have seen that somewhere thinking that was okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, that and the whole thing of with no fathers in the home, and not saying every woman was like this, I'll never generalize.
Right.
But you had the whole thing of, this is Uncle Bob, he's going to be here right now. And then here's Uncle Andy. And, you know, you see all these people, these men coming in and out. And what happens is the males that see that look at the fact, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. And especially when they see that they're calling their mom out of their name, when she's just, you know, they're just treating her like garbage, they start to say that's how it's supposed to be. And, you know, there's something to the whole, when you have a loving household, they see that, that's how they grow up as well. You know, there is so much to that. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of that is with broken homes and whatnot that we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
That's why there's a lot more mentors that are taking place. We need more because there's so many households that don't have, I'm going to say, women in them as well. So, of course, these children are seeing the other flip side, maybe a whole bunch of women just running in and out. You know, it's tough. It's tough all the way around.
That's
but
why
also when they're being taught that, you know, a lot of these, it goes back to, oh, well, boys will be boys, you know, oh, just go out there and get it, you know, and, you know, girls, you know, oh, you know, it's almost a sin to be a virgin in today's time if you 15.
The double standard.
It's like, it's so sad because there's so much pressure because the grown people are saying this. You know, you got the grown folks, the grown folks that's not saying this is not okay. This is not okay. You know, value yourself. Put a value on yourself and respect yourself, boys and girls. It's okay if you're a boy and you're a virgin at 18. It's okay that you didn't go and sleep with everybody on the cheerleading squad. It's okay if you know you meet a girl and you just, you know, you liking her, but you know you gonna tap that. No, it's okay if you don't. It's all right. It doesn't make you less of a man if you're not out there doing whatever you're doing, and it doesn't make you less of an attractive woman, because you can be attractive. But one thing about men, they, you know, if they know that they can get it, anybody can get it if it's that easy. So, you know, where's the respect at, and what are we respecting? Okay, once you see the body, okay, now what? You know, can you communicate? Can we go out? Do we share common interests? Nobody is talking about that. That's why relationships don't last, because we're just looking at the physical. But what comes after the physical? You know, there's a whole bunch of things that follow after that, and that's where the disrespect comes in, because all you paid attention to was the physical. Oh, she's a bad chick. Oh, he's fine. But you didn't look at all the other things that come along with the being attracted to that person. And so now when the disrespect comes in, you like, well, where did I miss it? Because you didn't pay it. Okay, you paid attention to so much how fine that person was. You missed all of the other ingredients that come along with that person.
Yeah, having hands on a lot of young people in my field, I find that they are looking for love in all the wrong places, and it's because of not being taught the right things at home. And some of the young men that I have, that I counsel, they've been pushed into thinking that they're, weak if they don't have a girlfriend. And you're 15, 16 years old, you don't have a girlfriend already, but they're being forced and they're being pushed in the wrong direction, and they're really confused. That's why those of us that have hands on young people, we have a great responsibility to steer them in the right direction, not to condemn them, but to show them the way to go. Because a lot of them are crying out. They really are crying out because they didn't have the right training and the right teaching at home. They were latchkey kids at a very young age, and they, just went in the wrong direction. So we have to make sure that those of us that have our hands on these young people today, we have a great responsibility. I have tons and tons of clients, 13 to 17, even 18, 19, and they are crying out. They're saying, I missed it. Help me get back on the right track. I missed it. So, we have a lot of training to do and pouring that wisdom into them to let them know, listen, you've made mistakes, but so what? You can start from where you are. Pick yourself up and let's get on the right track.
Right. And the biggest thing that occurs is peer pressure.
Yeah.
And it's even exponentially worse now because of social media.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things that we try and do is when we're working with people that we're mentoring and whatnot, we have to make it that we mentor them in a way that they're going to appreciate and accept it.
Yes.
Because, and the whole thing is using social media, using platforms like this, technology, so that they can really get it and see what we're talking about.
Yes.
Because nowadays it seems hard. If you're sitting one-on-one, face-to-face, and you just tell them this, a lot of times they're missing it because there's so much other stuff that's in their face,
Yeah.
and us just saying it one time is not it. So we have to teach it, but it has to be done in a way they'll accept.
That's true. I'm having a lot of group sessions now, and the group sessions seem to help because the young people are sharing, what they've been through and the road that they're on. So I've developed, my therapy to have group sessions because they need to hear what other young people have gone through with, and that they do want to do better.
Mm-hmm. Damon, what's your final words?
Oh, so much. Final word is as we all can agree, it's pivotal and it's important to obviously have those mentorships and having people that install the right things in our youth. Let's work on getting things not back to where it once was, of course, but better, but better than what it was before,
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's really all I had.
Right.
So I have a question before I end this. So is it realistic to tell I'm gonna say young people not to have sex?
So that's crazy you actually said that. I just had to talk about that. So let's just be honest. It's gonna happen whether we like it or not. Would we like for them not to do it? No. However, it is our job to educate them as best way we can to say, hey, if you are going to decide to do this, here are the consequences, positive and negative.
That's right.
To educate them so that how to still make that choice, but now they understand the consequences of them doing it. And then we can go, and support it from that. But it's unrealistic to just say, hey, don't do it because they're going to be like, well, why are you telling me not to do it? And then now I'm really going to want to do it because
that's right.
You're better off keeping an open mind, and you just hope that with the information you give them that they take it and say, you know what, I'm gonna probably wait. It's better to just wait. But can't just. Yeah, it's just not realistic to tell them not to do it. That ain't gonna work.
Josh.
What's that?
Josh. Yeah. What would you tell your son?
Don't do it. No, I would. I would definitely tell them don't do it. But then also educate them on what happens when you have sex. And I'll tell them the truth. If you can do it, make sure you protection. There's more than a baby you can get these days. But my encouragement would be definitely to not
absolutely
start that journey right now. So that's what I would do.
Jahan?
I've told my daughter, she needs to wait, but I've also told her why she should wait. I've showed her pictures. Look, I'm gonna scare you. This is why you need to wait. Here go a bulletin board with everything, pictures, STDs, everything you need to know as to why you should wait.
Tactic.
And then you decide to make your own choice. Then then we need to go take a trip to the doctor and get you on some birth control. After that, after I done showed you why you should wait, and you have your whole future ahead of you. Because like I always tell her, them boys gonna be there, the sex gonna be there. Focus on your future and what God has for you.
All right, Joy.
With me, so of course I told my daughter that she should wait. But I was a teenage mother, and I grew up in a church, so I know things happen, and I also understand that a lot of times it comes with the peer pressure of whoever you with. You hear your friends talking about it if they've done it, and so I understand the influence, and I do realize that when you have children that have peers, that they have a really large influence on how they see and view their sex life. So what I tried to just tell my daughter and to instill into her that, one, you don't want to be a woman who just go around giving it to everybody. You don't give it to people, you just don't open yourself up to people that you don't really care for and that don't really care for you, because that can be very dangerous. And so I just let her know the pros and the cons of how life. I just told her how life is. I didn't really, because I understood that, eventually she's going to grow up and, she might meet a young man, and that young man might have that sauce that might tell her, like, what, maybe we might do it. And I understand it. Look, by all means, I understand. Yeah. But I need you to understand that I want you to be in control. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to let nobody peer pressure you. I don't want you to let nobody manipulate you. I don't want you to let nobody influence you to do outlandish, crazy stuff that, they got going on out here. So I just let her know those things. And so far, so good. So
that's good, Joy, because I think that's the, when you tell young people just don't do it, that's such a gray area, because it's like you're telling them not to do something that they're already purpose in their mind to do, versus you teach them respect yourselves, whether it's your sons or I taught my sons and my daughters to respect yourself. So to the level that you respect yourself is how you're going to respect someone else. Now, does that still mean that they may not get into an entanglement? They very well may do that. But at least you understand that there's a respect that comes along with it. So now you're not going to carelessly just go out there and sleep around. You're not going to care. There's going to be some thought to it before it happens. But just to tell them not to do it, you gotta go a little bit further than that. I believe, because nowadays young people are like, oh, okay, well, you had sex before marriage, Exactly. So now there's a different conversation. It's the respect. If a young man respects you, then these are the things that he's going to do. Now, it may be a tug of war that, with the feelings and all of that, but there's still going to be respect there. because he's not going to just be, oh, I'm just going to get it, hit it, and leave. You know, that's the part that you want both of them to understand. And I think that's where it brings back that respect to where we're not just, and whether it's young people, because grown people doing it too, you know, everything is like, oh, okay, you know, yeah, I'm just going to hit it and leave. No, when do we get to that place? You know, it's like, okay, first of all, women need to know that their bodies are important. And like you said, you know, you're going around sleeping with people, you don't even know who you sleep with. You know, a man could be thinking he's sleeping with a woman and
You know, one of the biggest things also is with telling them about certain things, and I love the whole medical aspect of it as well, because my day job, I guess you could say, is I'm a nurse. So with explaining things like that, yeah, you definitely have to.
Yes.
But the biggest thing that we found out with our kids was communication.
Mm-hmm.
Communication comes into everything, and you want to make sure that we started early with letting them know they can talk to us if they have questions.
Yes.
There isn't anything you can't talk to us about.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even had, you know, when my son, now he was a little shy with mom, because mom was like, you know, you try and do that, I'm gonna own that down there because it's going in my pocket. Okay, but the whole thing was, you know, he said he was thinking about it. There's this girl he knows, and she was like da 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 da. And I said, you know what? One, you have to think about what you're doing. Two, you have to make sure that you're protected and she's protected. And the two of you need to discuss it beforehand as to why you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And he said that the whole why messed them up because neither one could come up with a real reason. You know, he was like, they just got to laughing and talking about it, and then they just decided to wait because it just didn't make any sense. They couldn't answer the why question. I told him, I said, if you guys can answer the why outside of you want to feel good, do what you do.
Yeah.
And they really couldn't, you know. But I think the communication, just having the communication open, and that again starts from early on, so that they know they can talk to you about anything.
Right.
Exactly. Well, this has been such an awesome show. It's great input from everybody, and we've been talking about attraction versus respect. We want to thank our viewers and all of the comments, our Facebook viewers, Instagram, TikTok, and Caribbean. We want to thank all of our panel guests, our co-hosts. We have Dr. Yvonne Bennett Joy, we have Jahan, we have Thomas, and we have Damon, and we have Reverend Jay and Dr. Benny on. We want to thank everybody today because this was really a good topic. I think that it's really, really needed. I think that we need to talk about it more. Listen to your children, listen to each other, you know, but build a sisterhood, because a lot of things cannot occur if we really have these conversations among each other. You know, a lot of times we think that is, you know, embarrassing to talk about it, but it's not. You know, it's real, and if we keep it real, you know, we can really save a lot of people from going through a lot of things. But you've been watching BTS Keeping It 100 with Ladie Vee, and we are now on every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I want to invite everybody to come back and join us next week. We have a hot topic. Next week, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you got to come on the show so you can be a part of it. But until next week, always remember, you have a voice. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.